Hi, good morning, everyone. This is Dilip live from Veltec Networks. Thank you for joining us today. And we have a wonderful set of presentations for you. And today we are going to start with um, personal data breach, cybersecurity, and then insurance. So we three of us are hosting this together. And let's start with a quick poll on this. And I am going to launch the poll. And this is the question. Please go ahead and pick your answer. Do you or someone you know have ever been a victim of identity theft? Appreciate your feedback. All right, I will hand over the presentation to Avi. Avi Gingold is an identity theft expert. He can introduce himself, and you will learn quite a bit about what is identity theft and what can you do not to be a victim of identity theft. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Dilip, for inviting us to share this great information. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yep. Right. And can you see my slides?
Yes.
Great. Wonderful. Wonderful. So good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here today. And I'm a certified identity theft risk management specialist, as Dilip mentioned. My company is called Legal Shield, and I'm going to share with you a few items today that could benefit you and your business as well. So I would basically share what's the problem of identity theft and laws that are related to identity theft that affects employers, executives, and business owners. And after that, I will share with you what should you look for the best answer to the problem, which would be a layered protection, an identity theft program and training, and also very important is to implement reasonable steps at little or no cost to you that would lower your risk and minimize your exposure. So who is held responsible with identity theft? And this is a quote from a BLR, the Business and Legal Reports magazine, that said, a rise in identity theft is presenting employers with a major headache. They are being held liable for identity theft that occurs in the workplace. So if you are working, if you have a company, if you work at a company, the risks are there. With the workplace being the site of more than half of all identity theft, HR executives must stop thinking about data protections as solely an IT responsibility. So identity theft, it's important to have all the technology in place, but there is also a human aspect to that, and I'll talk about that even more. So to kind of transition into that, I would like to share with you what are the 5 common types of identity theft, because there is a lot of misconceptions about identity theft. So the major areas are driver license identity theft, where people, criminals commit crimes using somebody else's ID. There is social security with all the benefits associated with that. There is medical identity theft, and it's actually the one area of identity theft that can actually kill you. There is, of course, character and criminal identity theft, and financial, which is kind of the most common one that most people relate to. But as you could see, identity theft is not just about credit cards. It is a legal issue, and it is an international crime, and access to an attorney may be critical. So where that all begins. So what you see now on the screen is basically what I call the data-based you. And the data-based you is actually more important than you yourself. Because you see here just an example of all the databases that define who you are. Whether it's the DMV databases, whether it's military records, criminal history, real estate deeds, medical records, phone numbers and tracking information, car registration information, birth certificate, credit history, legal history, fingerprints and DNA. And this is just to name a few. And correcting the victim's record is so overwhelming, it is imperative for businesses to protect the data. So what's the cost to businesses? Employees can take up to 600 hours, mainly during business hours, to restore their identity. And if you experience a security breach in your company, 20% of your affected customer base will no longer do business with you, and 40% will consider ending the relationship. As well as 5% will be hiring lawyers. So when it comes to cleaning up this mess, companies on average spends 1,600 hours per incident at a cost of $40,000 and above per victim. And you need to ask yourself, can I afford to pay that cost? Also, why should all businesses, corporations, schools, financial institutions, hospitals, and governmental bodies be concerned about identity theft? FACTA red flag rules, GLB safeguard rules, and state legislation. It's the liability, both civil and criminal. And that's what I mentioned before, is that companies and executives are held liable for these kind of crimes. So here I want to mention briefly, and I will not go into details, a few very important legislations that concerns any of those institutions and entities that I mentioned before. It's the FACTA and the FACTA red flag rules. It's the Fair Credit Reporting Act. It's the GLB, the Graham-Leach-Bliley safeguard rules, and individual state laws. Those are all affecting businesses and what to do. And I will just give you an example of one of them just to make sure that you get the point. And this is the Fair and Accurate Credit Transaction Act, which we all know as the FACTA. This law applies to businesses and individuals who maintain or otherwise possess consumer information for a business purpose, and requires businesses to develop and implement a written privacy and security program. Employee or customer information lost under the wrong set of circumstances may cost the company the following: federal and state fines of $2,500 per occurrence, civil liability of $1,000 per occurrence, class action lawsuit with no statutory limitation, and responsible for actual loss of an individual. So you could see how this could pretty much escalate to huge fines and cost and time consuming for a business. And whether it's a small business, whether you are, a self-employed or a small dentist office or a chiropractor or a small technology company or a big one, identity theft and data breaches do not distinguish between them. So what do basically all these privacy and security laws talk about? They require businesses to first appoint in writing an information security officer. They also require to develop a written plan and policy to protect non-public information for employees and customers, to hold training for all employees, and oversee service provider agreements. So to protect personal information, actually the Federal Trade Commission came up with a guide for businesses. And you could see here on page 17, for example, what they talk about. It says create a culture of security in the company, make sure training is provided, and so on. So before outsourcing also any of your business function, payroll, web, hosting, customer call centers, operation, data processing, or alike, investigate a company's data security practices, because what your vendors are using could basically affect your company as well. And your liability follows your data. And since law firms are looking for victims, right, it's all about money, and that's why you see so many class action lawsuits around about, and in regards companies that had data breaches. It's very important to take the right actions to prevent and protect yourselves. So why and how we can help you? First of all, we help companies to set up reasonable steps to protect non-public information and personally identifiable information known as NPI and PII. We help create a culture of security. We help setting up a potential affirmative defense. And we help protect employees and customers while potentially decreasing your company exposure. So what is the affirmative defense response system? We start the compliance process for your company by providing templates for the appointment of the security officer and written ID theft security plan. We assist the company also with compliance issues regarding training the employees. And we do all that at no direct cost for the company. This is just an example of the policies and the letters and putting in place a security chief security officer. And also what we do that may reduce company losses is in the event of a data breach, this may help mitigate potential losses for your company. And our program may reduce your exposure to litigation, potential fines, fees, and lawsuits. We will train on privacy and security laws and offer your employees a payroll deduction benefit that includes credit monitoring, full restoration, and access to legal counsel. And that means that employees who participate in this program may reduce your company's exposure. The majority of the time in restoring an employee's identity is covered by the membership, and not done on company's time and on company's expense. Also, use of live events legal plan provides help that addresses related issues. Also, it acts as a potentially early warning system. If a number of your employees are notified of improper usage of their identities, this may act as an early warning system to your company of a possible internal breach, which could further reduce your losses. BLR says that it provides an affirmative defense for your company. One solution that provides an affirmative defense against potential fines, fees, and lawsuit is to offer some sort of identity theft protection as an employee benefit. So this is just showing you what we do, how it does mitigate the risk. It also includes forms that you need your employees to sign that basically says that they were offered, they got training, they were offered a solution, and whether they accept to receive it or not, it's their responsibility. So a disclaimer that I need to add at the end is that the laws discussed in these presentations are, like most laws, routinely amended and interpreted through legal and social challenges, and you are encouraged to review the laws and draw your own conclusion through independent search. And you could read also the rest of the disclaimer. So just like other state federal laws, privacy and security laws are not optional. We can assist your company in starting the compliance process before a data breach, loss, or theft affects your employees or customers. So we can help provide a solution. And when you are ready to schedule your employee training, give us a call and we'll be happy to help you get going. So with that, that concludes my portion of the presentation, and I would like to turn it now back to Dulip.
All right. Thank you, Avi. And that is wonderful because it gives a natural path to cybersecurity basics, which is what I am going to cover. And it was very informative. And just like that, it is providing a stepping stone to cybersecurity basics. So what is cybersecurity? In one word, whatever Avi just covered, it is plus a lot more in the cybersecurity world. So let me go ahead and come with what are the types of attacks on anybody who is using a computer. One of the most common type of attacks is phishing. Phishing is an attempt to obtain sensitive information such as passwords by posing as a trustworthy entity. This entity can be anybody, it can be me, it can be somebody you trust, and it usually happens through email. And information gathered is used to send spam, compromise other accounts, and steal information, and which is mostly the personally identifiable data, which leads to identity theft. So this is an example of a phishing email. It comes from human resources, which says, some generic words. It says HR from the company, but it is not. And you have to be trained to identify these and make sure that you are not clicking on any of those links. This is another one. Hey, are you busy? I need you to process a wire transfer. This is a classic. This in 2020, this was the most prevalent cyber attacks, which is called business email compromise. A lot of people fell victim to that, and this is what is happening quite a bit. And another one is fake Instagram email, which says that, okay, please sign in here with this code. And email scams are usually designed to get money or something of value. Often it is coupled with phishing, and it looks like it is coming from someone important in your organization, but it is not. It is coming from a fake account. Users, my point is, users need to be trained on identifying all these email scams. Otherwise, they will fall victim, which lead to a compromise on their personal as well as business accounts. Say this one is coronavirus. This was there in 2020 a lot. The coronavirus outbreak in your city. It looks like it is very urgent emergency. It is coming from cdc.gov.org, which is not a valid email. And there are a lot of such scams which has happened. So in a high level, 20 seconds to better email hygiene. Watch for overly generic content and greetings. Hi there, or it says, hello, that's all. Your name is not mentioned, just like it says, dear valued customer. These are overly generic greetings. Examine the entire from email address. Email address is very easy to spoof. That is, you may think that it is coming from a genuine email, but most of the time it is not. There may be a slight spelling difference. For example, veltecnetworks.com, instead of VELTEC, it can be coming from VELTAC, veltecnetworks.com. So it is not genuine. And third is look for urgency. Everything those people need it right now. So you have one click here to redeem the prices. You have to do it now. And in fact, one of our clients last month, she got a quote request from a prospective client, but unfortunately, it was asking for her username and password for logging into her Microsoft Office 365 account. She attempted twice. That means she gave them the username and password. And third time, since it was not working, she was able to call us and, hey, I need to send this right now. We said, calm down. This is not really genuine. So let's go through that and find out what happened. So first thing we did was we changed her the password. And luckily, so far, we haven't heard any compromise on her account. So if there are any links, carefully check all the links. Notice misspellings, incorrect grammar, and odd phrasing. Grammatically, it may sound right, but it may not. You have to look twice. Check for secure websites. If there are HTTPS and HTTP websites, make sure that you are looking at these HTTPS. S stands for secure. Don't click on attachments right away. Do not click on attachments or links. So another one is classic one, email coming from IRS. IRS will never send you an email. They will always send you a mail. This is another one which I found. It's coming from suntrust.com. And if you look at the link at the bottom, it says bit.ly link. It is not going to suntrust.com, even though it says suntrust.com in the email text. Payment details. check your account is on hold, your PayPal account is on hold, your Amazon account is on hold, all these coming in different forms, but it is not genuine. Another one is malicious websites. This is, it looks like a legitimate website, but you have to look closely that it is not a genuine website. So this is an example of a look-alike website. So this a phishing scenario which came, and it says that it is from SunTrust, but it is not actually SunTrust. They have simulated the whole thing, the whole sign-in page, but once you click on that, it will take you to a different website. Another classic one is tech support. People are calling from all over the place, and they say that, okay, your computer is infected by virus. And okay, we need access to that. You provide them access, they install something on that. Next thing you know is your computer is acting weird because people got access to that. So any of these classic Windows driver error is, they are all these listed, the websites listed here as SEO Trojans. You click on them and they install some sort of software on the computers. Ransomware. So ransomware is something which has been acting very, very weirdly in the last couple of years. This is one of the largest business as of now. People get emails, click on that, and then you know that they install some sort of software on that, which is a malware, which encrypts your files, and they have access to that. The whole computer is useless. The only option is to restore from backup or pay the criminals. My recommendation, and this is what even the government recommends, do not pay ransom. So I have another poll here, which is asking for, if somebody is asking for ransom, what would you do? If your network is attacked and ask for a ransom to get your data back, how much you are willing to pay? And nobody wants to pay anything. It is, I will leave the poll open for another couple of seconds. Please make sure that you choose an answer. And the largest answer I got was nothing. And there was one answer which came for less than $1,000. Okay, I am stopping this poll, and 67% voted for nothing, and 20% voted for less than $1,000. So what it means is nobody is willing to pay for this. So how come they are still making money? You're not alone. There are a lot of other companies, businesses, individuals who pay for this, getting their files back. So this is a classic example of a ransomware. Your computer is infected and it's logged, and they are asking for money. You get a certain time period before which you have to pay for that. So what is the cost? So average cost for recovery from a data breach, any type of data breach for any small business, is $36,000. Small business employees, 7 out of 10 small business employees who had their passwords stolen. 43% of breaches affected small business. As of last year, in 2019, the largest ransomware payment was 15 million. In 2020, it was doubled to 30 million. That was the largest ask. Last week, another a Korean company, Acer, was attacked, and they were being asked for 50 million. Not sure if they have paid it yet, but that is the trend which is going. So a cost of single cyber loss incident is 395 per organization for a company with 252,000 employees. A small business with 1 to 49, 1 to 50 employees is $9,000. And all others as it goes up as we see the number of employees go up. So how can you stay safe? First and foremost, I would always recommend training the employees is the key. And training them to be suspicious. Never send money or for something that is confirming by phone or calling a phone number you know is correct. Do not call the phone number listed on the email. It happens with quite a few people are asking, hey, I'm your vendor, send this money to this address. I have changed my account number, so send it to the new one. Make sure that you call the number which you already have, not the one listed in the email. Do not panic. Enter the website address directly into the web browser and log in that way. Do not click on the link. Look for poor grammar, spelling, or tone for continuity mistakes. Passwords. Never reuse your passwords. I know it's very difficult to remember zillions of passwords, and on average, an individual user normally have 50 to 75 passwords in their daily use. Never reuse the passwords from one to the other. Use a password manager. LastPass is a good password manager. You can use that. Businesses provide their own password managers. We provide our clients with certain password managers. Make your passwords randomly generated, not guessable, which is people can identify from not your pet's name, not your son's birthday. All these are very easily recognized. Visit haveibeenpawned.com and check your personal and work email accounts. If they are listed, change the passwords. Always use multi-factor authentication for critical services like banking, email, and do not use text messages as your second factor because text can be easily compromised. Updates on your computers, install the updates often. If you're busy working, put a reminder to install at the end of the day. Close your web browser a few times a week, or shut down the computer or restart the computer a few times a week to receive updates. Another critical thing is backups. Backup. You have to have a backup for your computers. All the critical data should be backed up in one form or the other. Government recommends backup strategy called the 3-2-1, which means 3 copies of your data in 2 different types of medium, and one is always offsite, not at the place where computer sits. Insurance. So most of the businesses require to have insurance. Does your insurance policy cover cyber liability? That's the question you need to ask yourself or your insurance agent. What will your policy cover if your business is attacked? Will your policy cover a ransom payment? I'm going to start another poll, which you can see right now. So this is regarding if you're hacked and asked for ransom, who will be paying? Your company or the insurance company? That's the question you need to ask yourself, and make sure that if you have right kind of insurance? Are you going to take it, or the insurance company will be paying? Make sure that before blaming the insurance company, you have to take the precautions. You might have seen the jewelry stores where during the daytime, every jewelry out there in the open to display. But at night, what do? They close that place completely. It is secured and very difficult to breach in that kind of environment. Insurance is definitely something like this. If you are getting asking your insurance company to pay for something, they may be asking you to put certain restrictions. So are you taking care of those precautions? That is what you need to ask. And thereby, I welcome Rick to continue the presentation. Rick, please take it over. You're on mute, Rick.
Thank you, Dilip. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. Okay, so thank you so much for your time, everyone, today. And thank you, Avi, for explaining legal services and providing services that employers can provide for their employees so that they can keep their minds on doing business, right? Thank you for Dilip for putting together cybersecurity best practices and so forth. You've done the best you can as a corporation, as a business, to help protect yourself. Now, what happens after that, right? Like Dilip had asked, do you want to write the check, or do you want the insurance company to write the check? That's what you have to ask yourself. And if you want the insurance company, like State Farm, to write the check in case there is a data compromise, in case there is some issues, then you have to take the right precautions. First thing, definitely, is to talk to your agent. Make sure that you have the right protections. Review your protections on a yearly basis, so you have an understanding of what you have and what you don't have and what's new, right? Because things change all the time, new threats and so forth. I tell you, you're trying to innovate your business, hackers are trying to innovate theirs, right? And their business is to take away your money. So when protecting your business, there's a lot of things that you have to consider, right? So mistakes, wrongful terminations, harassment, internal, external, disability laws and compliance issues, failure to hire, employee theft, bodily injury, fire, business, theft, and other work-related lawsuits, and then, of course, injury, right? So super, super complicated. You want to make sure that you talk to your agents to be able to help mitigate those risks. So let's dive a little bit deeper here. So your business represents your income, your assets, and many, many times your retirement fund. So you need to make sure that you have the protections in place, not only physical, but also security. Make sure that you protect this this nest egg of yours. And everyone does think about general liability. That's the most important thing. Before you sign a lease, landlords will make sure that you have some sort of a general liability. And that's typical slip and falls, right? That protects you against people having certain accidents, your customers, not your customers, having accidents in your premises, okay? But many insurance companies stop right there, right? So how about your business property, right? Many customers, many insurance companies will stop at general liability and make you pay or maybe even ask for a business property, right? So almost all businesses, pretty much all businesses have some sort of business property. And those are your computers, your desks, your tables, your shelves, your actual products itself, to make sure that you have enough business property, and make sure that, again, on an annual basis, you review that. We've had some instances where customers are completely underinsured, and after the review, they increase their coverage so that they have the proper protection. And let's talk about data compromise, right? So you've done all the precautions, but you know what? Some things slip through. And that's why insurance is here, to be able to help restore you and get you back to right. Okay, so data compromise, we have statistics of over $36,000 or average of $36,000 to recover from a data breach, right? And insurance is just a simple endorsement. You just want to make sure that you have data compromise, identity restoration, and so forth. And it could be just a few dollars a month, right? To make sure that you have protection up to $50,000 to be able to recover, because it's not only expensive, it takes a lot of time, and time is money. So you want to make sure that you have that type of protection. And then, of course, you have physical protection needs. In case employees get sick or hurt on the job, you have protections like workers' compensation. So here in the state of California, if you have any W-2 employees, that's a requirement. So if you don't have that today, you want to make sure you talk to your insurance professional to be able to provide some guidance through that and provide some options. Not a lot of people think about this, but when you do have employees, stuff happens, right? They harass each other, they discriminate. So it could be the employees doing this, it could be your managers doing this, it could be the owners doing this. So you want to make sure that you have protections in place for employment practices, right? Because there's liability when it comes to owning a business, whether it's you directly doing it or your employees doing it to each other. Okay, so then, of course, there's professional liability. Those are typically errors and omissions and malpractice. So in the course of doing business, right, there's going to be errors. There's going to be things that you miss. And so you want to make sure that engineers, lawyers, medical practitioners, insurance agents, any type of professional does require some sort of professional liability, right? And in many cases, it's in through the form of errors and omissions. Because we're not perfect, right? We strive to be, but we're not perfect. This helps. So certain other reasons, right, to be able to get employment practices liability, errors, and omissions, is to protect your business, right? So what happens during a claim? So someone sues you, you get served, and the first thing you do is, oh my gosh, what do I do? Am I insured? Am I protected? You call your insurance agent, right? Am I protected against this lawsuit? Hopefully. Yes, right? You've had this conversation. Hopefully, this is not the first time you talk to your agent. And this is where having an agent versus calling an 800 number makes a huge difference, right? Is to be able to work with them and have that comfort level. So you've got served. And then what happens after that? You talk to the insurance agent, we'll open up a claim, make sure that we start that claim process. State Farm will then reach out to our partners, partner law firms, and determine the right one, the local with the right specialization. We reach out to you and make sure that you're okay, no problem. We'll go to court and make sure that we defend this case. Hopefully that's it, right? Maybe they'll settle out of court. Maybe there's a big judgment, right? But whatever does happen, you are protected with the defense and also with covered damages, right? But that's where you need to talk to your agent. Make sure you have the right coverages and right limitations, because there are always limitations. There's no such thing as unfully covered. Right? So don't think you are. Make sure you have that conversation with your agent. Okay. And why State Farm? We are almost 100 years old. It's not just auto and home. We do specialize in business to make sure that your business is well protected. Because guess what? All of us 19,000 agents are small business owners as well. And we need to make sure that we protect ourselves and we have that sense of security, so that you don't focus on just the protection, but you do focus on your business and making sure that you do right for you, your business, and your community. Okay. Call to action. What do you do here? Right? If you don't have a trusted agent, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to review your policies, give you a second opinion. If you're in business for some time, I'm sure that you have insurance. but is it the right insurance? When was the last time you reviewed it? And is it, and in most cases, about 7 out of 10 customers or business owners have started a policy years ago when they started their business. But guess what? Things change. They grow, they shrink, and so forth. And so you always want to have a review. And if you haven't had a review within the last year, then it's the best time to have a review, have a second opinion, and get the right coverage for you. Okay. At the same time, you don't want more coverage than you absolutely need. So why do we do this, right? Let us be your risk managers, understand your exposures, and provide the right protection for you so that you can focus on your business. And that's what you do best, focus on your customers and your business. And lastly, this is us. We're in Campbell. mycampbellagent.com is where you can reach us. Okay. Thank you so much for your time. And I'm going to hand it back over to Dilip. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. And that was wonderful. And I have launched one more poll, which is asking, has any company or vendor you worked with had ever a data breach? Well, I am going to end the poll, and with that, thank you very much. And this was wonderful, and I hope you all got something out of this. Contact Rick if you need to review your insurance policies and make sure that it has a cyber rider, because cyber crime is here to stay, and people have to protect no matter what's the type of business, what size of business they are. You are using computers and you are definitely day in and day out exposed to some sort of cyber crime. And your employees need to be protected as well. Avi can help with that and protect your computers, systems. Veltec Networks will be your risk managers for that. And insurance, cyber liability insurance being one of the major push which got in 2020. I'm sure Rick can definitely help you with that. Thank you, and thank you for joining us. We will have another session of the same on Thursday at 2 o'clock. And if you recommend this webinar for some of your peers or somebody whom you know, another business owner, please feel free to ask them to register for this, and we would love to have you there. Thank you.